housing market, October 2022, Ayden, North Carolina.
But first, let's hit it. Hi, this is Alan Victoria. Welcome to our channel and podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast, YouTube channel, please subscribe and get notified.
Honestly, we get calls and texts all the time at 252-327-3357 and can't wait to talk to you. Okay, so let's talk about Ayden, which is a cute little town right next to Winterville in Greenville that often gets a lot of questions, and we have a lot of people listening on our podcast.
And then the question is it the right time to buy or to sell? And that is when we want to give you the recommendation based on the numbers and the statistic in the market.
Right. So let's hit it. Let's talk about active listing. Active listings.
Let's start with the inventory.
Active listings are what? Active listings are houses that are actually for sale as we current market. In the current market conditions that are available for you to buy. Pending means that this house might come back on the market. It's always possible, but typically they have an accepted offer and it takes banks 30 to 45 days to close on the house, at least in our area. And then of course sold means that it's recently sold in the last month and therefore that house is no longer for sale because it's already been sold and the new people have moved in. So let's talk about it.
Everything is about demand and supply like every other business. Therefore, the supply is our inventory, as my wife said, which is included the active listing and the pending listing. And in October 2022, we're looking at the 30 days mark in September 2022, and there were 23 homes active in September, and in August was 21. And if you're looking back in the last year, this time was 32. That means what?
There was a negative 28%, 29% lower activity than last year. Let's talk about pending.
Yes, pending also, they were lower. There were 16 homes under the contract pending in September, and in August was 12. And if you look at back last year, it was 19, which means what?
It was down 15.8% from last year. Okay, now sold.
Therefore, all these two numbers tells us from last year, basically, we had increase or decrease of we had decrease of inventory.
So there's less inventory in Ayden these days. Now sold, this also goes to prove it. There's 12 sold in last month. There was 14 the previous month, and there were 16 last year at this time. So that means inventory is down 25%.
No, the sold is down.
Sold is down 25%. Days on market is another key factor to know if it's a buyer's market or if it's a seller's market, because it says how long the house sits on the market before it actually is sold.
Yes.
So last month was...
The last 30 days was 10 days, median was 10 days, and a month before in August was 8 days. But if you look at that...
So that means month to month, there has actually been an increase in time. So notice that. They took 2 days longer on the market. But compared to last year... Which
was 15 days, we are talking about decreasing 33.3% decrease. That means market got faster respect to the last year this time.
For Ayden. Now let's talk about list pricing. Did I miss something?
No, list pricing. I mean, we didn't talk about the absorption rate.
Oh, your math on absorption rate.
And absorption rate also is one of those key factors that determine if it's a buyer's market and a seller market. In August 2022, this number was 142, and the last 30 days in September was 152. Therefore, definitely a little bit increase. We mean that we went a little bit toward the more seller market. But if you're looking at last year this number was 248. Therefore, in respect to last year, market got cooler. No?
That's interesting. See, that is something that buyers would find interesting. Okay, now let's talk about list prices versus sales price. Now, list price, of course, is how much the seller wants for the house, and the sales price is what it actually sold for. So those are two separate numbers, and of course, these are medium numbers. So a mansion is going to sell, and then we're also including a shack. So we're looking at the medium numbers here.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to look at we're not doing averages because that would be including the mansion and the shack. We're trying to go with the median.
Exactly.
So September 2022, the list prices were $349,900.
However, the sales price that doesn't scare you buyer was 184,450.
Now, why is this disparity? I'm just going to throw this out there right now. New construction has come back in Ayden. So since new construction came back in Ayden, you can see there's a major difference between the houses and then the new construction.
And if you go 30 days back in August, the list price was $350, almost the same as
$100 difference.
$100 different. But the sales price was $175,000.
So you can see that's a major actually increase in that sales price in month over month. But let's look back in the aggregate to last year. List price last year was $254,900, but the sales price last year was
$192,500. Therefore, definitely we decrease on the sales price.
Right. So there was a list price increase of almost 37%, but on the actual sales price, it decreased 4%.
Almost 4.18%.
Right.
Exactly.
So you can see there is definitely moves and maneuvers happening for buyers here. So let's talk about square footage and how much it costs per square foot. So the average square foot in Ayden last month was
$145,
which is up 0.7%.
less than a 1%.
How many price reductions were there in Ayden?
We had 3 price reduction equivalent to 200% increase.
Which is crazy, right? So I hope this video and podcast.
What you don't want to give any suggestion to the buyer and seller?
Oh, yeah,
you just
that's
want to give
important.
up?
Okay, so if you're a buyer, clearly we can look at certain factors. Days on the market is increasing, absorption rate is increasing, and those sales prices are much lower than last year at the end of the day. So there's definitely deals happening in Ayden, and if you're looking to have a deal, there are deals that are starting to pop up that they weren't popping up before. So now's a great time to buy if you're a buyer, because you can see that there are deals that can be made that weren't available
and the house are sitting in the market longer.
Right. Now, if you're a seller in Ayden, there is a less supply now, which means that you're in a prime seat still. This is still a seller's market. Yes, there are some deals happening. I would recommend, if you're a seller, make sure your house is presentable, because a good house is always going to sell no matter what the market is. Because if your house is the prettiest house there is in the area, and that's what everybody wants to live in, the house that they don't have to do any work in, that they love to go into because it's pretty and beautiful. And so if that is your house, then of course it's going to sell no matter the market, but it just helps you in this market so people don't come at you for all these deals, because your house is the one everybody desires, and desire increases price.
And the reason that we're saying that, because the sold to listed ratio went down almost 4%. That means that you need definitely work on the price that you're putting on the market and the staging of the house, as my wife said, and professional photography.
100%. If that house does not look good, it's not going to sell. So I mean, at top dollar. So